Hello and welcome back to the Wrestling Group. I'm your host, as always, Ryan, and today we are going to be doing another one of our looking back videos. We're going to look back at a specific point in wrestling history and go through and see just how good that particular era was. So what we're looking at today is Bobby Lashley's entire second run in the WWE. So as you know, he was in WWE for a couple of years. He was US champion, he was ECW champion before he then left. He did some work in MMA and then went on to TNA and became a main event star in TNA before eventually finding his way back to the WWE. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to look through his second run starting on April the 9th, 2018. The Raw after WrestleMania 34. Bobby Lashley returned to the WWE after a 10-year absence. He confronted and attacked Elias. For the first few weeks of his return, Lashley teamed with a number of different partners, including Braun Strowman, who he teamed with at Backlash, in a winning effort against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Lashley would be victorious once again against Zayn, this time in a singles match at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Up next, Bobby then entered a feud with Roman Reigns, as both guys wanted a shot at Brock Lesnar and the Universal Championship. At the Extreme Rules pay-per-view, Lashley defeated Reigns, but it was the big dog that would get the title shot at SummerSlam as Roman won a number one contenders match on Raw, pinning Lashley. Lio Rush was announced as Bobby Lashley's new manager as he turned heel on Kevin Owens before joining Team Raw for the Survivor Series pay-per-view. Lashley was among the survivors during this match alongside Strowman and Drew McIntyre. A return to his earlier feud with Elias was next, and a ladder match where Elias's guitar was hanging from the ring at the TLC pay-per-view. Elias won the match, but Lashley would attack Elias with the guitar afterwards. The next week on Raw, Lashley lost again to Elias, this time in a Miracle on 34th Street fight, to put a close to the 2018 and his first year back in the WWE. Lashley's 2019 started off in a big way as he became Intercontinental Champion for the very first time in his career, winning a triple threat match against Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. This was Lashley's first title in WWE since 2007. The promising start of the year quickly turned sour as Lashley was eliminated from the Royal Rumble match by Seth Rollins in just 13 seconds. Things went from bad to worse as Lashley lost the Intercontinental Championship at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view to Finn Balor. This was a handicap match involving Lio Rush, who of course took the pinfall, ending Bobby's reign at just 34 days. A few weeks later, Lio redeemed himself, helping Lashley to regain the title from Balor after Lio interfered in the match. This feud between Lashley and Balor continued until WrestleMania 35, where Lashley once again dropped the title back to Balor, with his second Intercontinental Championship reign clocking in at just 27 days, even less than his first. Lashley's year, which started out on a positive note, then got worse from here on out. He teamed with Baron Corbin and Drew McIntyre to face The Shield at their final chapter event. Dean Ambrose had announced he was leaving the WWE and the Shield had reunited for one last hurrah, the Shield obviously winning the match on the night. He then found himself feuding with Braun Strowman, which seen them compete in a tug-of-war match, an arm wrestling match, a Falls Count Anywhere match, and eventually a last man standing match at the Extreme Rules pay-per-view, which Lashley lost. It gets worse from here. Up next, the infamous Lashley, Rusev and Lana storyline. This has got to be seen as a career low for the Almighty One, as he was pushed into a romantic storyline with Lana, which even included a wedding ceremony on Raw. At the TLC pay-per-view, Lashley defeated Rusev in a tables match after Lana caused a distraction, this ending the feud between Rusev and Lashley. Due to the global pandemic, WWE would continue their usual schedule, but without fans in attendance. They made WrestleMania 36 a two-night show and dropped any matches that would involve too many superstars to ensure a more safe environment. This of course included the annual Andre the Giant Battle Royal match. Bobby Lashley and Aleister Black were both to be involved in that match this year, but instead found themselves in a singles match against each other. Although there wasn't much of a story going into the match, the excitement levels were high as fans believed the winner would push on towards the main event scene. It was Black that would pick up the win on the night. Lashley had Black in the master lock, but Lana convinced him to finish it with a spear instead. As Lashley then charged at Aleister, he was met with a devastating black mass and was pinned. After WrestleMania, Bobby Lashley aligned himself with MVP, which of course enraged Lana. And during the Backlash pay-per-view, Lashley got a shot at Drew McIntyre and the WWE title, as promised by MVP. But he was unsuccessful thanks to interference from Lana. The next night on Raw, Bobby asked for a divorce, finally putting an end to their romantic storyline in an effort to rebuild Lashley as a main event threat. Up next, the Hurt Business. On June 22nd episode of Raw, MVP offered the United States Champion Apollo Crews the chance to join himself and Bobby Lashley, but Crews declined, resulting in Lashley attacking the champion, putting him in the full Nelson hold. After defeating Crews in a non-title match, MVP unveiled a new US Championship design and declared himself the real United States Champion. This then set up a title match between the pair at Extreme Rules. The match, however, did not go ahead after Crews tested positive for COVID-19. As a result, MVP won the match via forfeit and declared himself the new United States Champion. However, WWE did not recognise this. The next night on Raw, Shelton Benjamin was added to their group as MVP and Lashley helped him to capture the 24/7 championship from R-Truth, and the group were named the Hurt Business. Apollo Crews returned to Raw in August, defeating MVP to retain the United States Championship, taking the new design in the process. Lashley would then defeat Crews at the Payback pay-per-view to become new United States Champion, and for the second time in his career. During a 6-man tag team match on Raw, Cedric Alexander would be added to the stable after he betrayed his tag team partners Crews and Ricochet, attacking them, turning heel, and celebrated in the ring with the Hurt Business. The Hurt Business would then enter into a short-lived feud with new faction Retribution, which would include Lashley defeating Slapjack at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view to retain his United States Championship. At the TLC pay-per-view, Benjamin and Alexander added the Raw Tag Team Championships to the group, defeating the New Day. At the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, however, Bobby Lashley lost his United States Championship in a triple threat match to Matt Riddle after he pinned John Morrison, ending this reign at 175 days, which was a lot more impressive than his 2 Intercontinental Championship reigns the year before. In the main event of the pay-per-view, Drew McIntyre retained his WWE Championship inside of the Elimination Chamber. Afterwards, Bobby attacked Drew, thus opening the door for The Miz to cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase and become the new WWE Champion. It was revealed that this was a plan between Lashley and The Miz, that in return Lashley would receive a title shot from Miz. This took place on the March 1st episode of Raw in a lumberjack match, with Lashley picking up the victory and becoming WWE Champion for the first time in his career. The following week, Lashley retained the WWE title against The Miz in a rematch on Raw. On March 15th episode of Raw, Benjamin and Alexander lost the Raw Tag Team titles back to the New Day, ending their reign at 85 days. Up next, the duo then lost a 2-on-1 handicap match against Drew McIntyre, which meant that they would be barred from ringside at Lashley's WWE Championship match versus Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania 37. This led to Lashley attacking them and kicking them out of the faction. Bobby defeated McIntyre at WrestleMania 37 before defeating him again in the triple threat match, which also included Braun Strowman, and again at WrestleMania Backlash in a Hell in a Cell match at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. This brought an end to their feud. At the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, Bobby Lashley defeated Kofi Kingston to once again retain the WWE Championship. Up next, a returning Goldberg made a challenge to Bobby for the title, a challenge which Lashley would initially decline before eventually accepting, and the match was set for SummerSlam. At the pay-per-view, Lashley would retain the title due to a referee stoppage after Goldberg could no longer continue in the match. On the September 13th episode of Raw, Bobby Lashley successfully retained the WWE title once again, this time against the Viper, Randy Orton. After the match though, Big E would cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase and defeat Bobby, becoming the new WWE Champion and bringing an end to Bobby's reign of 196 days. Later that month, the Hurt Business would reunite for a very short stint before finally parting ways for good. In October, Goldberg would once again return to Raw and call out Lashley, and the two would face off in a no-holds-barred match at Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia. Goldberg won the match and it brought an end to their short feud. At the WWE Day 1 pay-per-view, Lashley faced off against Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens and WWE Champion Big E for the WWE Championship. Brock Lesnar though was a late addition to the match and came out on top. 3 weeks later, Lashley got another shot at the WWE Championship, this time in a singles match against Brock Lesnar. At the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. After interference from Roman Reigns, Bobby won the match, becoming WWE Champion for the second time in his career. Bobby's second run would be very short-lived, as just over 2 weeks later at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, Brock Lesnar once again walked away with the title. Lashley defended the title in the Elimination Chamber match, but didn't officially take part as he was suffering from a kayfabe injury. Upon Bobby's return from said injury, he was put into an underwhelming feud with Omos, which started with Lashley defeating the Giant at WrestleMania 38. MVP then turned on Lashley, making him face for the first time in years. They feuded for a few months, with neither guy really managing to get over during this. Up next was a return to the United States Championship division, with Lashley defeating Austin Theory at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view to win his third US title. A rematch at SummerSlam seen Lashley once again defeat Austin Theory before successfully defending the title against the likes of Tommaso Ciampa, AJ Styles and The Miz. On October 10th edition of Raw, Seth Rollins defeated Bobby Lashley to become the new United States Champion after returning Brock Lesnar attacked Lashley, ending his third run at 100 days. At the Crown Jewel pay-per-view, Bobby Lashley lost to Brock Lesnar despite dominating the match. Reviving their rivalry once again, Lashley then failed to regain the United States Championship on a number of occasions, including on Raw 30, in a no disqualification match after interference from, you guessed it, Brock Lesnar. At the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, Bobby entered into the Men's Royal Rumble match and managed to eliminate Brock Lesnar before himself being eliminated by Seth Rollins. At the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, Bobby defeated Lesnar via disqualification after Lesnar hit him with a low blow, thus bringing an end to their feud. On the SmackDown before WrestleMania, Bobby entered in and won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which he appeared with a statue at WrestleMania but didn't actually feature in a match. Lashley would then be selected amongst a group of superstars to determine the inaugural champion of the newly introduced World Heavyweight Championship. Lashley defeated Austin Theory and Sheamus in a triple threat match before losing to AJ Styles in the semi-finals. Up next, Lashley then recruited the Street Profits to form an alliance as a sort of hit business reboot called The Pride. This was kind of an up and down run and didn't seem to have much direction. But at the Fastlane pay-per-view, they lost their first match teaming together against the LWO in a 6-man tag team match. Before the event, the Pride took out 2 members of LWO to try and gain a 1-man advantage going into the pay-per-view, but a returning Carlito spoiled their plans. On night 2 of WrestleMania 40, Lashley and the Street Profits defeated the Final Testament in a Philadelphia street fight match. And this brings us up to now, which is on July 21st of 2024, Bobby Lashley was removed from the internal roster at WWE, although he is still currently signed with the company. So there you have it. That is Bobby Lashley's second run in WWE. You know, some can call it success. Some people will say maybe it wasn't as successful as it could have been. You know, he was a 2-time WWE champion, 2-time Intercontinental champion, 2-time United States champion between the years of 2018 and 2024. But what do you think? What are your thoughts and opinions on Lashley's second run in WWE? Would you consider it a success? Would you consider it a failure? Maybe somewhere in between? You know, they dropped the ball with Bobby. Should he have been given, you know, a contract that suited him, that he preferred, you know, and understand, obviously, Lashley is 48, so I'd assume his next contract he signs will probably be his last big one, so to speak. You know, could you see Bobby maybe turning up in AEW for a stint? Could we see him return to TNA? Although I'm not sure what that would actually look like, considering TNA's recent working relationship with WWE, especially on the NXT side of things. But like I say, let me know in the comments below, do you think Bobby had a good second run in WWE, or do you still feel like there was quite a lot of missed opportunities for the almighty one? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below, and as always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to the wrestling group today, and be sure as always to stay tuned for more wrestling related content coming your way very, very soon.